Thank you for watching my revision to my American history notes, where I'm looking through these notes and seeing what I want to change or add. And I've noticed some things that I definitely want to change, but later on. So far, I have some things in my more recent to the end of it that I want to change. Some new information and some more balanced information in some places. So Georgia had a population of about 10,000 about this time. This is the end of the French and Indian War, the 7 Years' War, with a great many of them being slaves. Now, South Carolina had 100,000 and was very prosperous. The Cherokee under Attakullakulla, also known as Little Carpenter, had revolted but was badly beaten in 1759, with the Cherokee losing a great deal of territory. And North Carolina had much fewer slaves, but made up for it with poor white people in the back country who revolted in 1769. In Virginia, there was no middle class. If you were white, you were either a quote first family or a frontiersman. Progressive planters like Washington substituted wheat for tobacco, but for the most part, tobacco was still king. The Church of England was established in every southern colony, but was not greatly influential in any. Maryland was similar to Virginia, although it depended less on tobacco and more on wheat and had a prosperous seaport, Baltimore. It was a natural point for the grinding of grain from Maryland and Pennsylvania. As you moved north, through small farms in Delaware, you came to Philadelphia, America's largest city. New Jersey was much like Delaware, dotted with small farms and picturesque villages. Now, New York City was the third largest town in the colonies, already showing signs of its current cosmopolitan reputation, as well as signs of the urban nightmare with high class merchant homes separated by only a short distance from poor whites and free blacks living in slums. There were already plenty of Irish immigrants and Jews in the town, enough to celebrate St. Patrick's Day and to operate a synagogue. The landed gentry controlled elections and property qualifications were so strict that not half the white men could vote. This is the fact that undermines my previous statement about the relative freedom of the colonies, but my statement was meant to be in relation to England. A comparison between colonies would show some extremes of freedom, especially with regard to property rights. New England was racially homogeneous with few blacks, Irish, Scots, or German, which heavily populated the more southern colonies. 90% belonged to the Congregational Church. New England was also relatively democratic, with almost every adult male having the right to vote and the inequalities of wealth only being apparent in the prosperous seaports. Seagoing vessels had to pay a duty to the crown, which they brought when they brought their cargoes into port, and smuggling to avoid such a duty was commonplace, with even Englishmen from the mother country engaged in smuggling. Smuggled tea was England's favorite beverage. Now, many clergymen were engaged in scientific studies and relating them to the fundamentals of the faith rather than as today, trying to use them to overthrow faith or viewing science as an enemy rather than a witnessing tool. So we're going to talk about the Albany Plan, uniting the colonies, and Ben Franklin next. Some things I think are important that you should know if you don't already know them. If you want to add anything to what I've said, or you want to correct me, or you don't agree with something I said, please put your citations in your comments so I can learn from you. Thank you for watching.